Hello everyone and welcome all. I am Archie from the team of GISA Council. I welcome you all to the webinar for Introduction to NIST CSF. Before starting, a small request to everyone, please switch on your camera so that we can capture this moment of your active participation. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tapas. Thank you all. GISA Council is a non-for-profit organization aiming to empower individuals and organizations through the promotion of skill training and certification. GISA Council promotes various training and certification programs like Associate Information Systems Auditor, CISA, CSIM, C-Risk Prep Training, ISO 27001 Lead Auditor, Associate Cybersecurity Analyst, CISSP Training, GDPR Specialist, and many more. Within 9 months of establishment, GISA Council has educated and trained 1,500 professionals from 55 countries, more than 125 global enterprises, out of which 30 plus are of Fortune 500 companies. Thank you for your trust on GISA Council. It is my pleasure to introduce the trainer, Mr. Sonu Verma, who has amazed 17 years of experience in training across various domains, including ISO certifications 9001, 45001, 27001, and more, IT services management, and advanced analytical tools like Excel and Power BI, and data validation. His extensive implementation experience and span across reporting and data integration solutions for multinational corporations. As a consultant and lead auditor, Mr. Verma excelled in delivering comprehensive training and ensuring compliance with global standards, while his enthusiasm for sharing practical insights make him valuable asset to any training session. Best wishes to all the participants. Sonu sir, over to you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Archisha. So welcome on the call. As mentioned by Archisha, that my name is Sonu Verma, and I hold 17 years of experience in training delivery across many domains, including ISO, CSIM, CISA, C-Risk, NIST, SOC 2, SOC 1. And this session has been scheduled for all of you in order to understand why NIST has become a need for most of the organization who's dealing with the United States data, and why NIST CSF 2.0 has cropped up as one of the requirement other than ISO 27K. So I'm just sharing my screen and I will share the agenda, and then slowly and gradually we will travel for this 1 hour session on NIST CSF 2.0, that is Cybersecurity Framework. At the end of the session, I will hold some time in order to allow you guys to shoot the questions. That is a Q&A session. So let me share my screen and let me know if you guys can see my screen after that, okay? Is my screen visible to you guys?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah, it's visible. So
it is
yeah.
visible. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So the first thing that I'm going to let you know what is NIST CSF, the introduction to NIST CSF framework. Then the second part, the part of the agenda is framework, what is core functions of NIST, then introduction to NIST control sheet. Control sheet, for those people who are not from the auditing background or who have never experienced the audit, the control sheet are list of controls that an organization should implement, where we will write the findings and the assessment report against each control based on the evidence. What is heat map? Heat map would be a kind of risk register like those people who have worked in ISO 27K, they know that whenever we are auditing any organization on the basis of evidence, when we find any gap in process, policies, we write the risk. What would be the risk if we do not implement those controls? In risk register, normally what we do, we categorize the risk among critical, high, medium, low. But in NIST heat map, we provide additional thing, that is a NIST score. In this session, I will let you know how to calculate the NIST score. Then a small bit of practical session on one of the control of NIST, that is asset management. And then we will move to the Q&A session. So what is the NIST CSF framework? It is a 2.0, okay. What it does, it assesses the entire organization, whether it is an IT security organization or other organization. It allows you to assess an organization's, their security infrastructure, their risk governance, their enterprise risk profile and tier. What it does, okay, NIST CSF has almost core 5 functions. Okay, what they are, the core 5 functions are: identify, then the second is protect, third is detect, the 4 is respond, and 5 is recover. So this is one of the diagram that has been used across the world for NIST 2.0 framework, where you can see that identify, protect, detect, respond, recover, and the governance is in between. Now, when we have an audit mechanism, we always have to have a NIST or any of the framework, whether it's ISO 27001 or whether it's a SOC 2. We need to have a control sheet that guides us what we need to audit, what evidence is required in order to assess that control. So let me show you how this control sheet looks like. Is it visible or okay, let me increase the font a little bit for your convenience. Okay, so if you can see, the function identify captures certain domain, okay? One of them is asset management. So those people who are not from the IT audit background, asset management is a tool, or sometimes the organization maintain the inventory. It is a kind of inventory where an organization maintains entire hardwares, softwares. And what is the reason of maintaining the hardware and software in an inventory? Why we can't leave like this? I will explain you during the process of the audit, and the importance why a person or why an organization needs to needs to maintain hardware and software. Then among this category of asset management, so this is divided into 3 functions, like function. Under identify, we have one function called category, and under category, we have 6 subdomain, which is known as subcategory, that we need to audit during the NIST CSF audit. Within identify, you will see a business environment is also mentioned. Here it says organization's role in supply chain is identified and communicated. So what does it say? When we are onboarding a vendor. What is the requirement of a business or an organization in order to ensure that supply chain or the vendor management or third-party risk management team needs to ensure before we onboard any vendor in our organization or in the structure of the organization. The first thing is that in the vendor management, organization needs to roll out RFP, which is RFP is then the second one is sorry, I'm forgetting the term. I apologize for this. Then the second thing is that after RFP is rolled out, the vendor gets selected to do the business with the organization. For that, what we do, we need to do the vendor due diligence part. During the vendor due diligence part, a vendor management team, they ask certain policy document from the vendor, that is their cybersecurity policy, their encryption policy, their information security policy. Then these days, there is a new term that is cropping up in the vendor management team or in the environment of the cybersecurity. That is CLC. That is Cyber Liability Certification. So what happens? Let's say, we are hiring a cloud service provider like Microsoft, AWS, to provide the cloud services. So what does it mean when we are hiring the AWS or Microsoft to provide the cloud services to store our client data? So we need some kind of assurance that in case the data gets breached, who will be liable? So there is a contract that gets signed between vendor and the organization that in case the data gets breached, how much percentage the vendor is going to own for the damage and how much the company is going to pay for that client data. That portion is drafted in a a kind of contract that is known as a cyber liability certificate. So those things we need to ensure that they are part of the business during this identify part. Identify means we need to identify what we are doing. Like here, we are identifying the business or vendor to do the business with the company. The third, it also comes under identify function. It is a governance. It says the policies, procedures, and processes to manage and monitor the organization's regulatory, legal risk, environmental, and operational requirement. So what happens and what is the policy? The policy is actually the framework, the mindset of the executive board or the classroom management, how they want to run the business, how they're running the business, how the environment of the company is regulating. So that is being captured by the policy and the policy implementation. So for a policy, let's say we have a problem of tailgating. So tailgating, if somebody is tailgating, they are violating the policy of the physical security policy. So in governance part, all the policies have four kind of controls. One is a technical control. Second, non-technical control. Third, administrative controls. Fourth is a supervisory control. I will explain this for you. Let's say your organization. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Sanjay. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. So in an organization, what happens once you walk inside the floor? From the time we board the cab and we reach our office at our workstation, without knowing or unknowingly, we get scanned through many controls. That is the technical controls and non-technical controls. Technical controls are those controls which are driven by the technology. For example, your biometrics, your CCTV, your camera inside your lift. When you board that cab, that time also you get scanned through the physical security, where the guard asks you to show your ID card that you are an employee of this organization before you are boarding the cab. These days, the transportation policy has also come into so strict to ensure that before a female or male employee boards the cab, they also need to ensure that they are boarding the cab of their own company. That time, by showing your ID card, you are conforming the technical non-technical control, because your ID card is a part of non-technical controls. Once you board the cab, you get inside the office, you swipe your access card through the ACR, that is your access control reader. Once you swipe your access card, you get the access, that is your technical controls. But if you're not carrying your access card, the security guard stops you there, stating that you need to show your ID card. If you do not have the access card, please ask your supervisor to send an email. Then they ask you to sign a register as a visitor register, and then you get a visitor ID card in order to work that time. So these controls ensure that there is no unauthorized entry on the floor, and you get at least a visitor access card. So when you're signing the register, the visitor logbook, this is also to ensure that it is capturing unauthorized access, it is restricting an unauthorized access, and it is being driven by non-technology. So let me tell you one thing. Okay, we all experience, let's say there is an employee who is in the organization from last 10 years, 15 years. And so the security guard has become so comfortable with that person that the security guard is not stopping some time to show the access card. What this guy does, he is without access, so swiping the access card, he goes on the floor. So one day it has been observed by the external auditor and it get escalated. So what happens? The person has violated technical control by not swiping the access card. And when the security guard was asking him to swipe the access card, he argued with the security guard that I'm an old people. Okay, you know me on the daily basis. Okay. He argued and he went on the floor. So that way he has violated two controls: security control of technical security control and non-technical control. Oh, okay. All right.
Excuse me, Sonu sir, like phones are very small. Participants are requesting for like, if you can, yeah, thank you.
All right. So what does it happen when the technical controls and non-technical control has been violated? It gets escalated to the security team or the compliance team. Okay. In order to ensure that this does not come as a repeat, the governance team has already written in the policy that anybody who is found violating the access control policy of the company, the person will go on the PIP level 1, PIP level 2, and the final is separation from the organization. So what happens? The company says the person needs to be issued a warning letter. So when let's say you are a supervisor of a team, one of your team member is doing this, what you will do, you will give him a verbal warning, or best practice is that you are giving them a written warning on email. So when you are trying to control someone's behavior in order to make sure that person is not violating the security controls, you have issued a warning letter that comes as a supervisory controls. But even after getting the PIP1 or PIP2 or written warning, that person has become bully, that person simply ignored all the things that have done by giving them about, even he ignores his warning letter, he ignores his feedback. When the third time it comes as a repeat action, as a supervisor, what you will do? You will do RTH. I think refer to HR. HR will see you have already got the warning letter, you have audited company policy, technical policy, non-technical policy, and supervisory controls also. Then it comes the last stage as a in the governance as a part of advisory policy, advisory controls. So admin team or the secure HR team, they issues a termination letter. So that captures the 4 types of controls. And to ensure that these things, the employee's behavior is captured in a compliant way, this is the work and this is the main roles and responsibility of the executive team or the classroom management to ensure they write the policies and procedures and processes to manage and monitor organizations' regulatory, legal, risk, environmental, and operational things. So I gave you just one of the example of access management. What it happens, let's say, environmental management. It is one of the things, if you see here, this is environmental and operational requirement also. So what is the environmental requirement? Those who are not speaking, please put yourself on mute. All right. So once you reach office, when you have gone through your physical security part, then you face another security controls, knowingly and unknowingly. That is your logical security controls. So what the governance has done, the governance team has provided that was an access control. Now it is a logical access control. What they do, they write an access management policy where the IT team has been briefed that when people join the organization, they need to get their IDs in order to work, so that once they come from the training, they are ready with their production ID. So for that, the governance team has written the policies and procedures that when the team is in the training, it is the trainer who will request the new hire IDs. It will go in the form, but how the person who is provisioning the access, let's say access management team, will get to know what level of access needs to be provided. So what it does, it goes for the secondary level of approval. Once the person raises a service request ticket, the access management team see, okay, this person has got this much of, this is the line of business. This is the designation. It is a software developer, or it is a supervisor of the software developer. They need some extra access. On the basis of that, they get the access management. So what is logical ID means? Logical access. Logical access is that matches the logic. When you go to your workstation and you supply your IDs and password on your Windows machine or Ubuntu machine or your LAN ID that uses your line IDs and password. Organization, the governance team, the IT governance team has written a policy on the password complexities. That when you supply your ID, your password for the LAN needs to meet at least 10 or 12 characters, one upper, one lower, one special characters, and it has to meet 10 or 12 characters in the length. At the same time, it also says that after 45 days, you will start getting an email stating that your password is going to be expired. So that mechanism has already been built in the Active Directory. Because let's say if a lady has gone on a maternity leave, suppose she's going to come back after 3 months or 4 months or 5 months or 6 months, 7 months. So in that case, what will happen about that policy on that ID? The ID, if the ID will not be reset after 45 days, so with that ID gets deactivated, so how the system will work? So the policy governance team, what they have written that if the ID is not used for 45 days, the password has not been reset for 45 days, there will be a reminder email to change the password. Otherwise, it will be blocked. The second level of control is that when a person tries to supply the incorrect password, it says after 3 unsuccessful attempts, your ID will be locked and it will be going to the IT team to unlock the IDs. That is the second level of control here within the ID management. The third level, when a person is on maternity leave, what will happen with those IDs? Will that ID will stay as it is? What is the protocol for that? So in the Active Directory, the governance team asks the AD team to write a rules. If the IDs have not been used for so and so days, it will be suspended, not deactivated, not deleted, so that people will get to know the person is on maternity leave or so and so, and then IT team will take care of that. Correct. So there are multiple controls on that. We will go through one by one for topic wise. Since it's a small session, I will try to make you understand how this control sheet works, and then there will be a practical session a little bit. The same thing goes in the risk management part. Risk management also covers into the identity part. In the risk management strategy, what we do first, we analyze the risk. We run the VAPT, vulnerability assessment, the penetration testing, the gap assessment to figure out where is the risk. We analyze the risk, and then we ensure that we have a policy and we have certain controls in order to manage the risk. Then under protect, the access control mechanism comes that I just narrated. Under protect, the awareness and training things also comes into the picture. In awareness, as per my experience, is that most of the people, they violate the controls or the company policy because either they have not been trained or they have not attended the awareness training. Everybody likes their job. They do not want to go on PIP. They do not want to be separated. They do not want to be highlighted as non-compliant person. So what does it say? The management team needs to ensure there is a huge training program that covers the cybersecurity domain, like training on phishing email, training on social engineering, training on shoulder surfing, your ID management, how the ID can be shoulder surfed by your colleagues. So they get all kind of training, and to ensure that when they are working, they know what is phishing email. So all of a sudden, if somebody sends him an email, anonymous email, asking that, hey, click on this email and you will be getting $100 as a gift coupon. The person has already gone through the phishing email. They will not click. And that is how we will ensure that person is trained on the phishing part and the person is not vulnerable from phishing point of view by the hackers. Again, that is the data security point. So it is, I think, data is traveling. Okay, what we do, when we work in a organization, we send email with sensitive information like PII, personally identified information, like SPI, sensitive personal information like your bank detail, your credit card, debit card, checking account number. Then there is something called HPI for the healthcare industry, that is protected health information, like customers' disease, the patient's disease. So we need to ensure that when we are sending the data is masked first, and the encryption policy is written by the governance team, and it is the policy has been implemented throughout the gateway, whether it is this data is traveling, is in transit or through email, it is through the network traffic, or if the data is and rest, even if it is in the storage, that is also encrypted so that it does not get hacked or it cannot be misused. The same thing, it is saying the configuration change management, backup on information are conducted, policy and regulations. So there are multiple controls on this. Then it says maintenance and repair of organizational assets is performed and logged in a timely manner with approved and controlled tools. So why this is coming under protect in this maintenance part? So let's say we need to have maintenance report for almost all the physical security controls, whether it is a fire extinguisher, whether it's a water sprinkler, whether it is a smoke detector part. Every equipment, all these things is subject for the maintenance, whether it's an annual maintenance or sometime it is a quarterly assessment. The firewall, this fire extinguisher is mostly checked in every quarter. Some of the organization are so strict and stringent, they ensure that it is checked in every month so that in case of fire-like situation, people can use the fire extinguisher. And for that, what we do in the organization, we have a training policy also. Most of the line of business will send one person from each team. They will be trained how to use the fire extinguisher. When there is a fire-like situation, how they will gather the team and come into the assembly area and how they will use the fire extinguisher until this fire brigade team comes into the picture. So why it is necessary to ensure it is checked in a timely manner as per the information security policy of the company? It is to ensure that there is a fire-like situation and you are trying to use the fire extinguisher and it is not working. So it may lead to additional loss, like sometime human loss, sometime the assets of the company gets lost, sometime data gets lost, etc. Again, these audit logs are documented. Then it comes detect. A baseline of network operation or expected data flow for use, and system is established and managed. Detected events are analyzed to understand attack targets and methods. So what does it say? That during the detection process, what we do mostly two types of detection. One, we have internal team who works or who scan the network, or sometimes those organizations who are unable to, like, let's say the organization is small one, or even it's a bigger organization and they do not want to use the internal team. So what they do, they hire MSSP provider, managed security service provider, which is another vendor. That vendor goes through the vendor risk assessment part, their vendor scaling, they vendor due diligence before we onboard the vendor in order to provide MSSP. That vendor is supposed to, MSSP provider is supposed to keep the log and try to analyze to understand attack targets and methods. Then the security monitoring, continuous monitoring also comes into the picture. The network is monitored to detect potential cybersecurity events, physical security, malicious code, unauthorized mobile detected. This is coming under the detection process. Under the response part, what we need to do, response plan is executed during or after an event. Let's say there is a BCP-like situation. So how an organization will respond? What is their incident response plan? What is their BCP, business continuity planning? How the organization has trained their staff in order to work in the BCP situation? Have they tested the BCP? Do they have a written policy on BCP that captures RTO, RPO, minimum allowed outage time, the critical contact list? Have they conducted the simulation testing, the tabletop activity, etc.? So once they do what we know to do during the BCP situation, people are asked to take part in the BCP situation. When an organization is going through the BCP situation, they need to ensure that people can respond to the situation and communicate also. Then analysis, then mitigation plan, then improvement, then recovery. If the recovery plan is executed, and IDS and IPS also comes into the picture, whether it is an intrusion detective system, whether it is an intrusion preventive system. Then recovery plans incorporate relations, and finally the communication, public relationship are managed. So I'm showing you how does it work in the practical session. Now this calculation, NIST scorecard, okay, how we calculate? I will show you. Let's say this is the asset management. Okay, it says your physical devices and system within organization are inventoried or not. You are auditing these things. You will ask the person to show me the policy document, which is asset management policy. You will write down in the asset management policy which page this inventory part has been written by the governance team. Let's say it is page number 3. Then at the same time, you will ask for the evidence. What are the evidence we need? Those people who have not seen the asset register, I will show you. This is the asset register. Most of the time, this is being maintained by the IT team. Whether it's a manual entry or the big organization has asset inventory tool, where they maintain what is the laptop, how many laptops they have, how many desktop they have, how many thin clients they have, along with the serial numbers, floor location, geography-wise, line of business, whether it is a SaaS team, whether it's an executive team, and whether it's an information security team. So what they do, they maintain these information also. And what is the rationale? I will explain you. So it is a detailed asset register, whom they have assigned, what is the employee ID, what is the manager's name, when this purchasing was done, when it is meeting end of life, EOL, what is the vendor name, so that in case this laptop is not working, so which vendor he needs to consult, Apple or Dell. So they will figure it out this way. Designation also done. Then at the end of that, this is the most crucial part. It says business criticality value. Okay, in case there is a situation where an IT team needs to ensure that we need to choose certain laptops in order to save from the ransomware attack or fire-like situation, they will simply go and select the criticality point of view, and they will ensure that these laptops belongs to CEO, CISO, and Director of Information Security. So this data, the data of this laptop is more crucial than people who have this kind of laptop who are SaaS team members. Then they maintain the software inventory also, that what is the version of the software they do, what is the version number, what is the full form, they maintain this way. And to ensure this asset register is up to date, there is an approval process that goes here, where it is checked on the monthly basis by the IT manager. And then the senior manager also checks on the quarterly basis to ensure the asset register is up to date. What is the rationale to keep this up to date? Okay, let me show you as an example. India just faced, in fact, entire world just faced the lockdown. All of a sudden, there was an announcement that people will be under lockdown for unlimited time. So the business does not stop. Client does not allow you to breach the contract. If the software development team, let's say it is a software development life cycle team, where the client has given them these 20 people needs to produce 500 softwares on a daily basis. So there is a like a BCP situation. These people will not be able to reach office. How an organization will get to know who can work from home? Who, because this laptop and desktop and thin client is at their offices. So what they will do, they will simply go to the pivot table. They will see, okay, how many people can work? Okay, laptop people are 6. Okay, so they will come here. Okay, let me desktop, less laptop, thin client. So what they will do, they will select laptop. They know that there are 8 laptops where people can work from home. Who are the supervisors? So instead of calling those 8 people, they will call these 3 managers, asking them to please ask your team to work from home and start working overtime, because we have a client contract in order to deliver 100 softwares on the daily basis. Okay, this is the main purpose of this asset register, asset management. Second, if this person leaves the organization, let's say this person is leaving the organization, and at the end of the day, he is returning the Dell laptop to the IT team instead of Apple. So this is the loss of the organization. So that is why what they do, they will simply say, okay, this guy is leaving. When you go to submit the, what you call, your laptop, they will say, okay, what's your employee ID? You say, okay, enter. Okay, so sir, you are submitting your Dell laptop, Dell laptop, but my record says it is an Apple laptop. To ensure there is no mismatch, no fraud, that also takes place, because if somebody delivers the a Dell laptop instead of Apple, the data also goes with that team. And for that, what we need to do, we need to audit on the basis of NIST framework. Okay. Second thing, what it says, the control. Let's say hardware inventory. Okay, you have written hardware inventory. So what would be the score? Okay, for the FYI, all the controls has one control has 3 scores. Okay, the moment you write 3, it automatically comes into green. It is compliant. Second, what is your software inventory? Do the company have the software? Whether you will see whether your inventory list has this software inventory or not. Then you will come here. Okay, it is done. Asset management. You will write down software. How much? 3. Done. Great. Organizational communication flow. Okay, like I was saying, that RFP part, that vendor management, that is request for proposal. Okay, what happens when you're doing these controls? Okay, there is a control that comes here which says your organizations needs to ensure that data are prioritized and as well as external information systems are also cataloged. External information means who is providing you the external services. In RFP, when you raise the RFP to select a vendor to provide the laptop, so you selected Dell. So in your asset register, do you see the Dell name is there, the vendor name is mentioned there or not? If you say yes, okay, you will write down number 3, marks. For this one also, external is 3. The
The
moment
maximum score is 3, right?
for each control, right? The moment you write 2, it becomes yellow. The moment you write 1, it becomes orange. Okay. So since the time is limited, okay, I will show you how this works in the asset management part while calculating the risk. Okay. So this core elements is 5, or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each elements capture category, that is the NIST category. Under this, asset management comes business environment, governance, risk assessment, risk management, access control, and awareness team. So what happens? Total control is AM. Like we just gone through AM. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. AM is over. Now you will see the B ID manager business is coming here. Okay. So we provided the 6 control, and each 6 control we have provided the number. Once we provide the number, okay, we need to write down the possible score. Okay, this is the possible score. What happens? The number they have got it, the total control, it has to be divided by the 3, multiplied by 3. So total score is coming as 18. Okay, let's say there is one control which is not working and you have deducted, let's say 2 control, they are not working. So once you deduct marks on that, 3 plus 3 is 6. Out of 18, you have subtracted 12 marks. So what you need to do, in order to ensure that score is calculated, what we do, this is the NIST score. They have to, this does not changes, okay? Let me color it for you in a different way. This does not change. This is the fixed score as per NIST framework. How much this organization has gathered or tried to manage. So if the organization has got 12 marks in asset management out of 6 controls, so what is the deficiency? But there is a calculation method. Arbitrary gaps is this minus this and divided by this. So when you see, when we divide the formula, let's see, I have provided the formula here. So it is coming as a minus 33 marks. Okay. Why it is coming in the arbitrary is minus 33? It means the organization is lacking 33%. They need to work more in order to get 100% marks. So this is the score of identify and asset management. During the audit, during the complete audit, we keep filling this data, okay, and it automatically start reflecting. There is a fixed formula for this. Okay. Once we calculate this NIST score, okay, for this on the basis of the control.
Can you explain that formula once?
Sure. This is the NIST formula. Okay, let me write in NIST possible formula, possible score. Okay, this can be the maximum one. Okay. Out of 6 domains, if when you multiply, like I said, that each control has 3 marks, where I have written this. Okay. When you multiply this 6 into 3, multiply 3, it becomes 18. But during that control sheet, we figured out one of the control is not working. So what we did, we deducted 2 control is not working. So we deducted 2 controls marks, which is 2 into 3 is equal to 6. 8 subtracted by 6 becomes 12. Okay, so this is the 12 marks. This organization, this is the organizational marks. Organization has managed to score this. Okay, and this is the NIST score fixed. So we need to ensure that what is the deficiency the organization is lacking, okay, to become 100% compliant on NIST. So when we subtract this, okay, you can see this formula. I have written F3, which is your organization that has the organization that is scored. Then NIST possible score, you will see E13, E3, and that gets divided with the NIST score itself. So 12 minus 18 divided by 18 becomes minus 33%. So an organization is performing less 33% in order to get compliant in asset management. Okay. Is it clear to you guys? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So once we keep calculating, this is your NIST audit report. Okay. But what is the percentage when we write the final score? Like when we have been in the school, we get 60% marks in science. Then in SST, we get 70%, Hindi, this and that. Okay. So these are the score. This is the full box, and this is what you scored. Okay. And this is the GPA that you got. Okay. Sorry, this is the mark percentage of yours that course. Now, finally, we get GPA, right, in our scorecard in the schools. So during this GPA calculation, this is the main part, okay, of the NIST calculation. During this NIST calculation, we do not calculate this part. We only select from mitigation, because once the risk has been analyzed, organization needs to mitigate the risk, improve the risk, recovery planning, improvement, communication, and all that. So what we do, we will calculate the NIST score for the GPA part of this NIST, that is 33. If you see, I'm showing you this sum is 33. Can you see this? Then what was the performance of this organization for this main calculating field, that is 27 marks. So when we are subtracting this thing, the same formula, okay, it is coming as a minus 18%. So the organizational GPA is minus 18%. Organization needs to cover more than 80% score to be NIST compliant. Okay. Now, since no organization can be 100% compliant most of the time, so what is the question? The question gets asked. Okay, how much percentage do you think an organization should score? So if your organization is performing like ideal NIST score, if it is -8, we are good. We are meeting the expectation. Not of course 100%, but yes. But if it is more than -8%, your organization is not NIST compliant. And once we prepare this report, okay, it comes into three picture. One, the 5 functions scorecard you will write, top 5, these 5 functions. Then the same scoring, same formula gets under NIST category. So it comes into 3 ways. One, score it is based on NIST function. Second, on the NIST category. And then the final is the arbitrary calculation that you will do. That is your GPA calculation. So over the period of time with the practice and with the complete evidence, like because the short session, I just covered this IT management part, okay, just one part, and it has almost 95 to 100 controls in this. So for that, we need some like more evidence I need to show, and because the time is not limited, so I just concluded with the asset management part. Okay, practical section is over. Question answer time. Any question? Let me stop sharing and come there. Yes, team, please ask me the question.
Sir, thanks for the lovely session and the explanations were very lucid. I have a practical question. Recently, we had in our organization that all the laptops were installed with BitLocker. Could you kindly elaborate on the efficacy of the BitLocker, please?
Sure. So what is the function of the BitLocker is that it encrypts your data of your system. Okay. So during the physical walkthrough, okay, it is the environmental control that comes into the picture that says all the laptops has to have a BitLocker. So let's say if you are going from your office, somebody steals your laptop, or you are going somewhere and you lose your laptop. So the person who gets your laptop will not be able to decrypt that hard disk in order to install that, in order to steal the data. And that comes under one of the control of the compliance standard of the NIST also. During the complete session, you will get to know if that BitLocker is a part of encryption. It encrypts your disk so that it does not get, even if you lose your laptop, your data is safe. And additionally, to for your FYI, with the BitLocker, most of the organization has installed an application to all of the systems. The moment you call your security team that you have lost your laptop, they will wipe out all the data remotely. Even the laptop is with the hacker or some thief.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Question.
So,
So
sir, actually, you had
one by one,
so
yeah,
sir,
Brett.
actually, you had given example of vendor management about exit strategy, due diligence. So, how does that fit into this CSF framework?
So in the vendor due diligence, what happens? An organization cannot work without the vendor. Okay, most of the time, whether you have the laptop from Dell, whether you have food facility from the other vendor, the food is also getting delivered by the vendor. Okay, let's say you have hired a managed security service provider by the vendors, those who are providing you the services. So what happens? We cannot give the data. Let's say we have provided a network access to a vendor MSSP service provider in order to check the network traffic, and we have not conducted the due diligence. Okay, what will happen? The due diligence captures checking their all the policies. That company, they do have the policies. Plus, while signing the contract, we also infuse one statement, right to audit of the vendor. So whenever we feel that there is a problem, we can send our internal auditor to the vendor's location to audit to ensure they are compliant. If the vendor is in the far location, what we do, we ask them to showcase their SOC 2 report, SOC 1 report, ISO report that certifies that organization is operating under the NIST CSF, ISO framework, or SOC framework, and your data is safe with the vendor. At the same time, we have a protocol, we have this functionality these days that vendor need to sign the CLC, that is cyber liability certificate. They are legally obliged. Like I said, we have controls like technical controls, non-technical controls. Yeah, I can share the spreadsheet. Thank you. Technical control, non-technical controls, administrative control. Other than that, we have a legal control also. If there is something goes wrong, okay, the technical control and non-technical control screw up the people who are working. They go through PIP part by the management. But the legal control is directly applicable on the executive board, the CEO of the company. Let's say you have hired let me give you a very layman example. You hired a person who is delivering the food in your organization, and you did not conduct the due diligence. You did not check the vendor. And all of a sudden, there is a food poisoning for more than 100 people. 2 people passes away. So there is a legal action against the organizations. The company has to pay 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs rupees as to the damage of the employee. And 100 people are not working for till the time they recover from food poisoning. So that 100 people are not working in our organization. That is spiraling out this capacity management team, the revenue generation team, and finally it is going to hit the organization P&L, that is profit and loss statement. So one small mistake, it leads to the top management and the company's financial and the security health infrastructure. And if, God forbid, if it gets rolled out to the media, the share market crashes for that company. And that is why, and these days, especially the NIST framework, it is more robust than ISO. So these days, it has become a crying need for most of the organizations.
Thank you, sir. Got it.
Yeah, Bhaskar, you had been asking something.
Can we get a participation certificate for this webinar?
I need to check with the GISA Council.
Okay. Thank you.
So I had one doubt. For the asset register, does it only contain all the end user components or also the DC assets like servers, routers, switches, etc.?
All of them, all the companies assets. Even it captures the financial assets also. Since it was the CSF framework, so I just show the inventory of hardware and software. All right, if there is no question, I hand over this call.
Yeah, hi,
to-
sir. I just want
Yeah.
to have the full practical session, right? I just want to implement it into
Sure.
my organization.
You want to go for full training, is it?
Yeah, practical implementation.
Sure. So please, GISA Council is going to contact you on those time. So support desk team. Please take over the call if there is. Do you guys have any question?
It is
Hello,
fine.
sir.
Yeah, please ask the question.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
And I just want I don't want to take much gap for this. So is there any chance to conduct the sessions in very short?
I didn't get you. Your voice is cracking.
Actually, I don't have much time. Are you going to take the sessions if we requested in a very shortly?
GISA Council will contact you. The service desk team, they will contact you. They will frame a complete batch, and they will get to know. If you want to know right now, I can hand over the call to the GISA Council team, and they will let you know about the upcoming batch. Will that work for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure. All right. So, team.
I
GISA
have a question, sir.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, please.
For the NIST one, like I think we have seen a lot of different frameworks under the NIST. So like I think this is the fundamental one. So a lot of different numbers for different things. Like I don't understand how to identify like which one to take up. So just if you have a brief on that.
Okay, sure. So this is not the fundamental one. This is the main framework. This is called cybersecurity framework. Okay.
Okay.
So it has been. There are other frameworks like RMF, that is NIST risk management framework. The second and the third deals with NIST 161. Okay, that is complete a supply chain management, where this NIST framework is conducting an audit on your infrastructure and from the cybersecurity point of view. But if your organization has issue with the vendor management, or sorry, your company has too much of vendors under you. Let's say I have been auditing one of the organization in the NIST gap assessment for this supply chain. That organization had more than 500 vendors working under them. Okay, under that organization.
Okay.
So they requested not CSF, but they wanted NIST supply chain 161 to be audited.
Okay. Similarly, I seen like numbers like 200.833. I don't remember the exact numbers. I'm just assuming like similar numbers. I don't. Maybe it's very specific to some under the CSF. Maybe specific numbers to be to called out, and some specific framework, sub framework, some sub frameworks might be.
So it's sometimes it comes as a SP, NIST SP, Special Publication 181, 18153. So that is the framework you need to see whether it is a supply chain, the risk management, it's a cybersecurity framework, or it's an infrastructure audit. It depends what is your need, and accordingly you can register for that.
Okay.
Yes, Sam.
Thank you
Sam,
for the session.
welcome.
Great answers. Yeah.
Hi, sir. I have a question regarding that sheet you presented. So
Mhm.
just pretend that we have like 400, 500 endpoints. To in order to get compliant, is it a good idea to do a CIS benchmarking? I don't know. Like, what is the most efficient way to track all these, assets compliant? Because we cannot go on each asset and check the group policy or the applied stuff, right?
Right. So it is your organization. Sometimes, well, you know what, asset register, asset management, or inventory. Sometimes it is completely organization is handling is like a manual way. Most of the organization now, since because of the NIST is becoming more robust, and in the like there is a one more framework called CCRA framework, California Consumer Right Act. So they are putting more pressure on this US US based MNCs, okay, or those who are working with the European Union data. Sometimes the GDPR control is getting implemented. Okay, there are two more controls that have been implemented, used by the day after day before yesterday. They have infused. They are infusing two more controls. So it is up to your organization, because when you are applying any control, it needs money for all the controls. So your
Correct.
cybersecurity
Because
budget for
I have, the motive behind this question is like I have seen, such like small organization, they want to adhere policy, but at the same time they don't want to spend the money, right? So
right.
that's a difficult situation for someone who is, GRC umbrella. So I mean, I have been in that situation and I have, suggested a couple of solutions, but that's not a continuous monitoring thing, right? So
Right. So there is a term that is called CSRB is coming into the picture. Okay. Now most of the organization in a coming year needs to be compliant with CSRB. That is cybersecurity risk budget, where they have to take out some of the budget of there is some percentage that is going to be categorized on the basis of the nature of the business the company is doing, the size of the business they are doing. Now the government, it is a government regulation that is coming, where an organization needs to put certain amount for applying the security controls in their infrastructure in order to save the data, the architecture, infrastructure, etc.
right. So probably
That is all.
the thing you're pointing out is probably they need to contribute some sort of budget in order to be compliant with this.
Right. Right.
Okay, and that
For
should be a
example, they
compulsion in the certification criteria that
coming
they
here.
had to show that budget.
Right. And there is no certificate. Let me tell you, there is no certificate an organization gets like an ISO. Okay. It is a framework audit, like the SOC audit. SOC audit, they gives you SOC report and the SOC 3 certificate. Okay. So in the same way, NIST gives you the heat map and the NIST scorecard. There is no certificate that an organization receives.
Okay, got it. I have done the ISO, so I have background to it, but yeah, like
I
this
got
is
to
the
know
most
by the
that this is the situation we most of the time we encountered. They don't want to spend budget and they question us like, what's the effective way? I don't know how to answer that.
correct. Next question.
That's all from my side.
All right. Harsh, you can ask your question. Guys, if you can switch on your camera, that will be more beneficial for us. Yeah, Harsh, tell me, you are sending some question, asking them, trying to question. You have raised the hand.
Hi, Sonu sir.
Hi.
Sir, can you please make me clear on that? Like, how many controls do we have in NIST framework?
As of now, there are 95. They are moving it to 101 very soon.
Okay. And also, what is the duration of this course and fee details?
So 35 hours course, and for the fee details, GISA Council is going to tell you about this.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a 35 hours course.
Yeah. 35
Complete
hours.
end-to-end, 35. It's a complete end-to-end practical session.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
All right,
Yeah.
GISA Council. Yeah. GISA
Are
team,
we
can you
able to
hear me?
get work paper templates in that course?
What template are you looking for, Chalpati?
For each function.
Yeah, you will get everything. Like during the training, we'll share the practical session, the sheet, then the guide, everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Like, and Mohammed is asking how to prepare initial IRL questionnaire. Okay, IRL is like you need to ask certain data from the client, the nature of the business the client is, number of department they have, what are the operation modus operandi. How you need to ask the standard operating procedures. If the person is in SDLC process, you need to ask them the secure code review, their testing, their UAT guide, their release date, the software release, etc. All right, any question?
Sir, I have a question. NIST guidelines will be applicable in SDLC lifecycle also?
Yes. Okay. It is a complete infrastructure audit.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome, Mohammed.
So anybody else having any questions?
Oh, I think they have exhausted that question bank.
Okay, so I have shared a link in the chat box, and if you are interested in getting the NIST CSF training from us, so you can fill up the form and get the details from us. I request all, if you are interested in taking the course, so you can fill up the form. I will be sharing the link once again, and just you can fill it up, and our team will connect you for the details.
So please see there, Artisha has provided a link, okay, for the registration. And guys, this is a complete practical session, okay? So please be prepared for the exhaustive training. This is 35 hours training. And yes, you can fill the form, and then GISA Council is going to prepare a batch on that, and then I can take forward from there.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, I hope everybody has taken the screenshot of this question or taken the copied the link. Please copy the link.
Hopefully everyone have
Copied the link.
yes, and okay, so thank you everyone for attending this beautiful webinar, and so thank you very much for having.
You're welcome, Artisha. All right, take care, guys. Happy weekend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your assistance.
You're welcome.